Hi everybody, Karaoke here. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the things you can do once you hit level 80 in Guild Wars 2. Now, whether you're a new player hitting 80 for the first time, or maybe you've been away from the game for a little bit, you might have experienced the feeling once you hit level 80 of not knowing what to do in the game. I know I've had a lot of friends quit because they get to level 80 and just don't understand what to do next. So in this video, we're going to lay out some of the things you can do to help you gear better, find fun content to do in the game, and give you something to work toward. The very first step will be to get your starter gear. Now there's lots of different gear sets that are available of different qualities, and if you're hitting level 80 for the first time, you may not have a ton of gold on you. But you want to make sure to get gear that'll at least allow you to participate in more challenging content than just running around the open world without dying all the time. So my suggestion is to start by making sure at least all of your gear is rare. If you can afford exotics, that's a little bit better. But if you start off with just rare gear, you'll be in good shape. Now, if you do have a little bit of money to put toward exotics, but maybe not enough for an entire set, think about getting an exotic weapon first. In general, you want to upgrade your weapons before you upgrade your armor, because there's usually only one or two of them that you need, and it'll be a little bit cheaper than trying to upgrade your full armor set. The same thing applies, by the way, when going from exotic to ascended gear. You want to upgrade your weapon first, and then your armor later. Now, if you're really hurting for cash and you need a way to generate those rare gear pieces for yourself without having to spend the gold on them, or if you just need something simple you can do to start earning up a little bit of money, you could do worse than starting with the World Boss train. World Bosses are events that happen every 15 minutes in Guild Wars, and they happen at specific locations. So there's websites you can go. I'm going to show an example here. This is a site called Dolphy.net, which should be an indispensable resource for any Guild Wars player. But there's a timer here that shows you the next world boss that'll be running, as well as the current one, and it'll give you a little waypoint chat link. If you take this chat link and copy it and paste it into Guild Wars, you can put it into the chat box, and that will show you the waypoint that you need to go to. So the first time you go and start trying to do these, you may not have all the waypoints, but if you at least try to start getting these waypoints as you go and catch up and do the events you can, very quickly you'll start to generate a lot of rares for yourself. If these are better than what you're currently wearing, you can go ahead and equip them. If not, you can salvage them for ectoplasm or just sell them on the trading post to start to build up gold as you work toward your exotics. When it comes to level 80 content in Guild Wars 2, you really have three different options. You can do open world PvE content, you can do instanced PvE content, or you can do world versus world. And we'll talk about each of those in turn. Your open world PvE endgame can vary a lot and might include personal goals like getting a legendary or doing map completion. But if you're looking to earn some skins and make some gold, you should check out Drytop and the Silverwastes, two zones added post-launch by ArenaNet that exist west of Brisbane Wildlands. In Drytop, you'll be helping out the Zephyrites, a group that's crashed in the area, by completing dynamic events. You'll be able to earn the Ambrite weapon skin, which are weapons that have bugs encased in them kind of in amber. Drytop also includes a sandstorm phase, where you'll be able to run around and open chests using lockpicks that you've bought from a vendor. In the Silverwastes, you'll be helping the Pact fend off attacks from Mordremoth by capturing and holding 4 forts around the map. Completing events in Silverwastes, as well as completing story journal achievements, will help you to unlock the Luminescent armor skin set, again another unique reward to this zone. Silverwastes has a very different flavor from Drytop, and you may find that you prefer one over the other, so I recommend trying them both. But if you're not sure, consider Silverwastes first, as it tends to be considerably more rewarding on a gold and mats per hour basis than Drytop. Your instanced PvE endgame in Guild Wars 2 are dungeons and fractals. Both of these are 5-man instances which have unique skins associated with them. There are 8 dungeons in Guild Wars 2, each with multiple paths in 2 modes, story and explorable. Completing explorable mode paths awards tokens which can be used for unique armor and weapon sets. Dungeons are popular thanks to their very high gold per hour reward, in addition to the unique weapon and armor skins. If you want to get started with dungeons, I recommend going to a website that has information about how to complete them, such as gw2dungeons.net, and take a little bit of time to learn the paths beforehand. That said, if you're interested in learning dungeons, your best bet is to join a guild that runs dungeons and have them teach you the paths. You'll learn them a lot faster that way and have people to play with on a repeating basis. Fractals are similar to dungeons in that they are 5-man instanced content that you can repeat, but Fractals add a unique progression mechanism called Fractal Scale that you can play at higher scales over time for a more challenging experience. Fractals are less rewarding than dungeons in terms of raw gold per hour, but they have additional unique drops that you can't get anywhere else, as well as a high rate of dropping ascended gear. So after you've done dungeons and geared up in exotics and are looking for more of a challenge, Fractals are a good next step. World vs. World is a competitive player versus player endgame experience for Guild Wars 2. It's one of two. You've got World vs. World and structured PvP. In World vs. World, your home server, which you picked when you created your account, will battle to other home servers across a selection of maps. There's 4 maps that run simultaneously, and those servers will attempt to capture and hold structures while killing other players who might get in the way. Now, World vs. World can be really easy to get into. If you jump on your map, you may see that there's a little commander tag that shows up on the map. That tag is designed to draw players to it and lead them around to capture stuff. But if you really want to get started with World vs. World, there's a few things you should consider doing first. So first of all, try to find your home world's server community. Most servers, I think probably all of them, have a website out there somewhere where people on that server gather to group up, discuss strategy, etc. For example, I'm on a server, Northern Shiver Peaks, and we have a website, northernshiverpeaks.org, where folks can go and they can sign up and just chat, see what's going on, find a guild, find a group to run with, etc. You don't have to be in a guild to run in World vs. World, although it may make it a lot easier, as most World vs. World guilds will have specified times that they go out and run, and you'll find that a nice structured way that you can learn the game mode. Some servers will run training events as well, so keep an eye out for your server, see if they have times where you can go and learn a little bit about the game. In general, what you'll find is that as long as you're level 80 and have semi-decent gear, if you get those rares like I told you, you'll be in a good enough spot that you can go and say, hey, I'm interested in learning World vs. World, I'd like to help out, will somebody help me? In addition, on our channel, we have a bunch of training videos for World vs. World, so if you're curious about learning more, definitely check those out, and they may help you get into that game mode. So World vs. World, that's your main competitive PvP endgame experience if you're not going to be playing structured PvP. The other thing you'll want to do is make sure you get a decent build for your class. Now, I know a lot of players out there like to go and just come up with something on their own, but what you'll find is that there's a lot of really great builds out there that may not be the obvious thing that you went and decided to do. Especially if you're going to be running dungeons and fractals or World vs. World, every class is expected to bring certain things to the table, to run certain skills or utilities or weapons to help with the overall group effect. And when you're newer to this content, you don't know those expectations. So I highly recommend that you go and find one of the existing builds that's out there that everybody will be expecting you to run. The best way to do that is to go to a site that has them. My preferred one is MetaBattle. If you go to metabattle.com, you can look up builds based on the type of content that you're looking to do, as well as your profession. Now, sadly, not all professions are equal, and you'll find that, if you play certain professions, they may be less desired in certain content than others. But don't let that get in your way too much. You can definitely run whatever class you'd like and whatever build you'd like, but try to start with something that's kind of well established. As you get used to the content and the game mode, as you're not super new to it, you can kind of adjust and tweak that build to better suit your own personal playstyle. But I would highly recommend finding a build before you get started with any of this level 80 content. The best in slot gear in Guild Wars 2 is Ascended gear, and ArenaNet has said they will never add another gear tier above Ascended, so also consider starting to pick up some Ascended gear pieces. Now, I think the first gear that you should get that's Ascended would be your Amulet. Amulets have quite a lot of stats, it's a big percentage, and you can get it for either 30 laurels or 20 laurels plus 250 badges of honor, which you get from doing World versus World. If you have the badges of honor, I'd highly recommend getting them with the badges because 10 laurels is worth a lot more than 250 badges of honor. If you get this amulet, you'll find it's not just a nice stat bump, but it also has an infusion into which you can place one of a few different types of boosts. I'd recommend either the Karmic infusion if you'd like to earn more karma, or the Magic Find infusion to help out with your drops a little bit. This is definitely the first piece of Ascended gear you should get, as it's going to be relatively cheap and easy and has a lot of stats associated with it. Once you've gotten your amulet, you should also try to get Ascended trinkets by doing guild missions with your guild. Now, if you took my advice and you found a guild and you do guild missions with them every week, you'll see that you can buy one Ascended trinket every 2 weeks if you can accomplish all of the missions using guild commendations. You can earn up to 6 guild commendations by doing guild missions every week, and Ascended trinkets cost 5 gold, plus 12 guild commendations. Now that may seem expensive, especially if you're just getting started here. 5 gold can seem like a lot, but for the gear that you get for the Ascended piece with the stats, it's actually quite reasonable, and it's account bound, so you can move it between characters as well. So Ascended trinkets come from doing guild missions and should be early on your list of things to get. You can also get Ascended rings primarily by doing Fractals. Now, Fractals may be something that you don't do right away, so it may take a little bit longer to get to a spot where you can get these rings. But once you start doing Fractals, you'll find that these rings come relatively easily. Every 10 Fractals you do, you're going to be able to get a ring using pristine Fractal relics, which you earn from doing Fractal runs. It could be even less if you get a Fractal daily. So if you start doing Fractals, especially when you see those Fractal dailies, you'll start to be able to earn rings for yourself. For Ascended weapons and armor, you're going to have to do crafting. Now, we do have a separate guide for that here on the channel, so if you're interested in doing Ascended weapons or armor, you can check those out. But I would recommend getting your Ascended amulet, rings, and accessories first, then worrying about weapons, and only much later worrying about Ascended armor. Ascended armor is unnecessary for pretty much all content in the game, and it's incredibly expensive to craft. So I would say you can stick with exotics for most of your Guild Wars 2 time, and really only go for Ascended armor if you've been playing for quite a while. If you're watching this video, it's too early for you to be worrying about Ascended armor. But start with your trinkets and your weapons. I hope you guys have found this video helpful. If you have any questions, just leave them below in the comments. I do try to respond if anybody has any questions. Also, check out the other videos we have on the channel. There's a bunch of guides that go into more depth about different areas of the game, so be sure to poke around and see if there's something you're looking for. If you'd like videos that maybe we don't have, something we haven't talked about, let me know in the comments as well. And again, if you liked this, be sure to give us a like, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more in the future.